The target psychographic for Child No More is somebody like Felicia. Felicia is a 30-year-old woman who spends most of her days reading deep, personable books whose characters are crafted in depth with detailed descriptions of their personalities and how they came to be. Her favorite book is The Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. She engages in activities that help her grow as an individual, as well as resonates with the peers she surrounds herself with. She hates ignorant people who don't stand for more than what their favorite kind of food or TV show is. She loves games like Valiant Heart, Papers, Please, or This War of Mine that are brave enough to tackle pertinent issues she reads about in her favorite newspaper, The Guardian. Felicia loves sharing her opinions online, in pages like subreddit, where she can find more people that relate to her attention to important causes in the world, like starvation, homelessness, armed conflicts, wars, etc. She is active in these communities and isn't afraid of sharing her love for indie developers who delve into these subject matters. Determining animal profiles was important for all tracks. Building an animal chart before doing one-page designs for each one of them was a necessity. As the theme of the game revolves around Arya's loss of innocence, and since the animals are accompanying her throughout this experience, we wanted each of the animals to represent a certain family figure for her. The wolf. The wolf's main role is to protect Arya, no matter the cost. Inevitably, the wolf is going to be the one making the unpopular decisions, strongly affecting Arya's personality. It is the necessary evil. The wolf represents the stern father figure, the alpha of the group, who is extremely protective and territorial. A reactive animal, the wolf's actions are blunt and quick when necessary, when there is little time to think of the outcome. The wolf can sense nearby danger by sense of smell. Its growl can be used to either intimidate weak opponents or even force Arya into submission through intimidation. This, however, teaches Arya that one can solve things quickly by being abrupt and aggressive to get one's way, so the player must use the wolf wisely and sparingly. The fox. The most clever companion in the group, the fox uses its intelligence to find smart, safer ways of avoiding conflict by using the environment to the group's favor. The fox is perceived as the big brother or sister of the team, using its abilities to detect traps and items of interest in the scene to either attract Arya or the soldiers, depending on the situation. We thought it useful for the fox to not affect Arya's personality, but rather let the player use it to shield her from unwanted interactions. The ferret. As the scout of the group, the ferret is designed to be cautious and hyper-aware of its surroundings. As it is the most fragile animal companion, it relies on its small size and silent steps to avoid detection, only seen by soldiers if approached in close proximity. Being this shielded from danger, it plays an important, almost mother figure for Arya, putting emphasis on showing compassion and empathizing with her situation. The ferret can comfort Arya in times of need, either for the purpose of keeping her distracted from potential danger, or making sure her mind does not break at the face of personality-defining experiences. Combat-wise, as it easily avoids detection from soldiers, the ferret provides an outline of the soldier's path by their scent that they left behind. This enables players to plan ahead for either using the fox or the wolf to either avoid or engage combat. Arya's dynamic personality change is definitely the biggest challenge in terms of design and implementation. Having a graphic representation of it helped the team visualize how this dynamicity relates to gameplay choices, as well as programmatically determine the necessary attributes Arya needs to have as a progressively developed AI. The triangle peaks represent three main states. To the right, the aggressive state, to the left, the depressive state, and on the top, the cowardly state. In the center, a well-balanced personality means Arya processes situations with incredible maturity, aware of her surroundings, and willing to move forward. This state affects the ending scenarios. Let's take a quick example. Midway through the game, Arya's personality is at the brink of the ideal mental state, but still sides more towards the depressive mentality. Exploring a case scenario where the player chooses to use the wolf to deal with the soldier detecting their presence, killing the soldier will draw Arya's personality pointer towards the aggressive extreme. Naturally, this does not immediately affect Arya to become aggressive, but more so influences her towards this extreme. In our case scenario, Arya's new mental state would be this, putting Arya within a healthier state of mind. Conversely, this means Arya will have snapped out of her depressive mentality, accepting that although the world she no longer knew exists, there is a means to survival, and she is accompanied by friends that help her overcome these challenges. Conversely, should the player always rely on the wolf's aggressive abilities to overcome these challenges, she will grow to learn that that is the most effective way of dealing with her problems, pulling her towards the aggressive extreme of the chart. To display depth of gameplay possibilities, we have currently decided on implementing 3 different enemy types in the game. They will be introduced as separate challenges within the scenes, scaling in difficulty in terms of their intelligence and pre-planning abilities. For example, rabid dogs as one enemy type act on instinct, whereas soldiers will react tactfully and will overpower the animals if not engaged with caution. Rabid dogs roam the streets of the besieged city in packs searching for food. They are weak individually, but a pack of them presents more of a challenge for the wolf. They are territorial, meaning they will not engage in combat unless approached at a dangerous level. They are impossible to sneak up to and will detect the ferret's presence. If encountered in areas outside homes, their sense of smell will be dampened by debris clouds and smoke. They are likely to engage in combat with other soldiers and civilians in the scene. The soldiers are the primary threat to Arya. They patrol areas alone or in groups, making engaging them without planning especially dangerous. They are armed with rifles, thus if they detect animals or Arya from a distance, they do not hesitate to shoot on sight. They use their flashlights when hearing noise in the near vicinity, exposing Arya or any of the companions if they are in hiding. Hostile civilians can be found anywhere in Arya's world. Their primary role is to cause chaos, as they are desperate people simply trying to survive. They prove especially dangerous to Arya as she may attempt to approach them in conversation. They can come alone or in groups, in which case they can engage with soldiers or rabid dogs. They are less likely to tolerate Arya's animals if in large groups, forcing them into combat if not properly engaged. They can also be drawn into groups of soldiers or rabid dogs, therefore distracting both groups. An important issue to solve in Sprint Zero, we needed to have a rough pass for character descriptions and the environments the game will play in. The game is set on an imaginary Eastern European city in the Yugoslavian era, during the time of the most impactful conflicts in the 80s and 90s. This city will be a combination of the cities of Belgrade, Serbia, Crete of Greece, Kosovo, as well as Sarajevo from Bosnia-Herzegovina, taking on modern aspects of Belgrade's architecture and the wrecked cities of Crete, Sarajevo, and the country of Kosovo. This brings focus to these conflicts that are mostly disregarded by the Western world, also exposes the team to a different culture and unusual character design considerations. Our goal for June consists of conveying a compelling story that shows only a slice of Arya's journey, her loss of innocence, and the unfairness of war. The demo will begin in Arya's aunt's home, her initial goal and hope to find her parents again. Fortunately, she does find her mother waiting for her, but her father is yet to be found. Her mother provides a safety net for her previous experiences, enabling us to give her a clean slate, so to speak. The focus of the first few minutes of the game will be in establishing a meaningful relationship between Arya and her mother. Investing time in this side of Arya will enable the player to relate and empathize with her situation. We will introduce the first enemies in this scene. The player will be led into the basement, where a pack of rabid dogs is in hiding. This will give room to the players to explore possible scenarios when using different animals, as well as Arya's personality implications with any course of action taken. The fact that her mother is still there and she will run back to her will still enable us for Arya to have a clean slate when she leaves the home. After this conflict, the scene will come to an abrupt end, as the soldiers have discovered their hiding place. They will barge in the doors, and Arya's mom will die in an attempt to hold the soldiers off, while Arya and her companions escape the scene. Completely broken by this experience, Arya begins to lose hope in the future, but sets out to find either her father or her aunt to reunite with what is left of her family. The second scene will be set in the outside environment, where fog of war will play a role in how players use their animals. The fog will obscure the field of view, and the player will be encouraged to use the ferret to scout ahead. As the fox can detect items and points of interest in the field, the player can also explore different options in dealing with the soldiers we introduce in this scene. They will present a more difficult challenge than the rabid dogs did in the first scene. This will provide a learning curve for the player. The fox's trapping ability will be further explored, with a focus of showing branching gameplay options, thus encompassing the extension of both combat and stealth options in our game. These two scenes will serve as a framework for us to add more scenes after the first vertical slice, telling a compelling story where the player will be presented with different endings, based on Arya's personality state.